forgot. Let me send now only.
Okay.
Okay, no problem, Ben. Like what we can do is we can discuss the questions and like if whatever you know you can tell, and then we will see how to modify it, what else we can add, etc. Right?
All right.
So
It's
first,
because I didn't take
mhm,
those classes. Like for me, Power BI, I
mhm,
did not take literally anything. So that's what I meant. But because
mhm.
I really like the materials you're bringing to us, and I just wanted to uh, refresh my mind. If since he's gonna send it, it will be okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I
Mhm.
will. I will. I will
sure,
send now.
that'll be great. And yeah, if you ask me now, like I can, I can explain like the ones I know, and then you can go
Mhm.
to Salam enough for professionals.
Wow. Wow, man.
Okay.
Especially Salam. Especially Salam.
Cute, yeah,
Yes.
you guys. He just
Okay. Okay, fine. So we will start. What we are going to do is uh, we will like I'll ask each one of you to introduce yourself, right? And then I have actual interview questions with me, uh, a few questions, and these are like the actual ones that was asked in the interview. So I'll keep on asking those questions. Whoever knows, like whether it's Salim, Ben, Berzo, whoever knows, just try to explain that in a very crisp manner, not too lengthy, not too short, like the way you will do it in any interview. Just treat this particular mock as the final interview and give your best. Okay, and from there we will see like how to improve. If you guys are knowing the concept but you are not able to maybe convey your thoughts, then we will then what we can do is for each question we will like have 3 4 liners that if somebody asks this question we are going to
Yes.
give this answer, right? So
Yes.
that's how we will do. Okay, so let's start.
But
Let's start with
in terms of
yeah.
the brief introduction about yourself, uh, I didn't get a chance to work on it today because I was busy on something else. But I will, because I don't have anything other than the one I provided yesterday. But by tomorrow, I promise to you, I will elaborate and I will try to bring a good one.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So maybe like if Salim and Berzo is ready, they can introduce themselves, and then you can maybe look how they are introducing themselves and use uh, that particular thing in your introduction as well,
Sure.
if that makes sense, right? Okay. Okay. So Salim, we can start. Maybe you can start like with your introduction, and we can then move ahead. Salim, are you there?
Salam.
yes, yes, I'm here. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I told, can you introduce yourself, briefly introduce yourself to me?
Oh,
Like,
I didn't prepare for that. The one I
okay,
prepared yesterday is the same thing. I didn't.
okay, you also didn't prepare.
Yes.
Barzo, what about you? Did you
Yeah,
get a chance to?
I can repeat, the same thing. I thought it like, the one I have yesterday, so I just stick to it. What I did is, just introduce myself and the,
Yeah, just try to gather your thoughts and be as much as like uh, good as you can. Like whatever
okay,
you have written in your introduction, just try to follow the same and try to speak everything. So
okay,
yeah, you can go ahead and start with your introduction.
okay. Hi, my name is Afor. I'm IT professional. For the last 5 years, or 5+ years, I have been working on different aspects of data, from SQL Server to the whole ETL process and um, Power BI tools. which is included data integration, data migration, data analytics, and data visualization, and more. And my recent project was mainly focused, based on actually, is a restaurant chain, 100 plus location in the US. So basically, the project was to compare the revenue trend before the COVID-19 and during COVID-19, just to show how much of impact the COVID-19 bring to the business in terms of revenue. And for that, I have used different sources from different files, like, flat files, like, text and CSV, Excel from web, sometime information, and usually SQL database from corporate office and more. And from the whole process, from extraction of data from different source, and clean it, and make sure it's consistent in a consistent manner, and load this clean data into the data warehouse for further analysis. And during that, I used different kind of charts and custom charts to show, visualize for the end users to be very interactive and to help the business leaders make a better business decision. And for example, I use, just to mention a few, a line chart and waterfall charts, to show trend and compare before and after the impact on the revenue, and charts like that. So that was some of one of the that I have and tasks, I've done with the team and individually by myself. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think in the middle, somewhere, you forgot your script, or like
Ben,
what happened? There's a lot of disturbance. Ben, can you
yeah,
mute yourself?
Ben,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So maybe because of disturbance or not, but I couldn't hear the last part, Berzo. Like, were you able to explain everything correctly, or like I thought that you missed, or you actually forgot your script and then you paused for some time and then started? Is that something I heard, or maybe because of the disturbance I couldn't hear it properly? Like, what did you tell at the end? Till the time you were explaining that these are the few charts that you have used, till there I was with you, and then somewhere I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, few charts, I just trying to give an example, like a line chart and waterfall charts, just to show a trend, trends, and compare between, the two periods before the COVID-19 and during COVID-19. So I used those as an example, but I used so much more, cards, just to show particular, values, or like other flash, just only one value and more. So yeah, and this is one of the example my recent project, but before that I've done different, involved in different projects and different tasks, usually as a group, and sometimes sometimes as individual by myself.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so looks good. So, Barzo, if I ask you, you said like you have used multiple data sources to basically work on this project, and you pull the files in Excel or CSV format. So, can you tell me like what are the various data sources that you have used? Is it like only the Excel file that you have, Excel and CSV flat files you have imported, or have you used some SQL Server also, or some other data sources that you have connected your Power BI to?
Yes, I have used a SQL database. It's mainly staying in the headquarters. mainly, that's a bigger data set. Usually, when it's from the SQL server, I usually use instead of import, I use direct query on that one because it's since it's a big data set. I don't want that big data set, to take up my memory and storage on my server. But yes, I have used the database, SQL from database, and sometimes from access some data from the web too.
Makes sense. Okay. So what's the difference between direct query and live connection?
Live direct query is something I can connect to the database directly, and live connection is the same idea, but this one is just live. Everything is stay as long as the session. You cannot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And
So
can I add up a little
Yes.
bit of that one?
yeah, please do.
Yeah. As Afork rightly stated, what's different these two from import is we don't import the data into the server we're working on. However, on both cases, it is working directly from the source data. And in your question, as you said, what is the main difference between these two is when it comes to direct query, it does save the meta data of that source. However, in terms of Live Connect, it doesn't save the metadata. Because of that, Live Connect doesn't allow us to transform queries. And I guess that is the main difference between those two.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, you made it very clear. And this is what Burzo you were missing, right?
Yes.
And this we went through in our first class. So yeah, guys, please go through the recordings once again. But yeah, you guys are correct. Okay. So this is how you will answer the way Ben told. This is the main difference. Basically, in import data, you'll have metadata which will sit into your Power BI. In live connection, there will be no metadata stored, but and again in uh, direct query, you can basically do manipulations or maybe work around with uh, the model view. You can create relationships, uh, but in live query, you won't be able to do that, right? So what I'll do, I'll basically for each of these questions, I'll give you, maybe I'll create one question answer kind of cheat sheet for you guys, and I'll
Wonderful.
give you 2 to 3 liners for each of these questions, what you will have to answer. Maybe not follow that, but it will be as a reference for you guys so that like you don't miss out any point. Okay?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So when it's a direct query, the metadata stays in our server, but with the live connection, it's not, right?
Yes,
Yes.
that's why the live connection, it doesn't allow you to do any transform queries. Because there's no metadata, you cannot do any transformation and live connect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So this was one of the questions, and then from here only, like they will start. So how interviewer basically takes interview, like the entire interview process will happen like a discussion. So once, as Burzo, you mentioned about your project, right? So today I have not gone into detail, but what will happen, since you mentioned that this is maybe the COVID, pre-COVID and post-COVID, you were comparing how the basically you have worked for some food chain or something, right? So how was the performance, etc., right? So they can ask this particular thing into detail, maybe. like whatever project you will explain, right? Then they will ask, okay, what kind of data it was, how many columns it was, what was the primary key, how did you how many tables were there, from where did you import it, how did you join it. So everything step by step, you if let's say interviewer ask you, can you talk about your project in little bit detail, then you have to start like this basically. Let's say your project. So for this project, we wanted to see the impact of COVID on our food market, or maybe like whatever your project is, and pre-COVID versus post-COVID, right? So how we were performing, how was the sales, how was the revenue being generated, how was the number of people coming in a particular week or a month, and because of which what was the net profit that we were getting. That is the intent of this project, to compare like what is the impact of COVID, like how COVID has impacted our business. And that's why we are creating this dashboard basically, to understand how was our performance prior to COVID and post COVID. And for that, we use these two data sets, or whatever data set. And the data set, the granularity of this data set is at maybe product ID level or whatever. Like I have not seen. Maybe you need to make that up. If you have not seen that data, then you need to make that up. Okay, in our data, we had like two columns. One was sales table, one was customer table, one was product table. And then in sales table, there was like primary key, which used to, using which we joined these multiple tables. And then we created these 3-4 charts that you mentioned to, we created line chart to look at the trend and all these. So this should be your flow. And then at the end, you can tell that after once we created this dashboard, we can basically compare pre versus post COVID. And what we are seeing is earlier the revenue was coming around let's say this much dollar. Now it has fallen to this much dollar, and the net profit has decreased by 10% or 15%, like that, so that they will feel that okay, you have worked on it and you have like this impact number also, or something to tell, right? So you need to make this up. So if somebody asks you that, can you explain your project in little bit detail? So this should be your approach, that this was the intent of the project. Then these were the data sets that you used. These were the charts that you created. And based on that chart, this was the outcome that you got.
I see.
Right? That should be the flow. Okay.
I see.
And then once you explain that,
let me sum up scope of the project and what sources I used and what techniques I used and what outcomes and the difference and what outcomes, if it's a loss or in a growth, whatever the result. That's what in a dollar.
That's what
dollar.
That is it. Yes. If you cover this, then I think you have explained your project. Then out of curiosity, how it goes is, for a few interviewers, they will keep on asking few questions from your project itself. Like, let's say, okay, you have used 3 tables, sales table. So then how have you joined these 2 tables? What have you used joining condition? Do you know what is left outer join or right join or inner join? So they will keep on asking these type of questions from your, like, related to your project itself. Some interviewer, what they will do, they will listen to your project, they will understand, and that's it. They will end it at that point, and they will start asking some different question that they have come up with, right? So basically, but in both the approach, the questions that will come, it will be within the range, like whatever we will go through, that will be it. Because maximum what an interval, like, very good question if somebody is asking, and if they feel that you are really you have worked hands-on and you are knowledgeable, then what they will do, they will start asking you, what is a DAX query? How, like, what all DAX functions have you used? Do you know what is related function? So all these things they will start asking, because these are the good level of questions, right? If they feel that okay, this is like okay student, or let's start from the very basic questions, then they will start asking, okay, why have you used Power BI? Why not Tableau? Like, what's the importance of Power BI or benefits of Power BI over Tableau? Can you tell me that, pros and cons? Okay, then they will ask, okay, what type of charts have you worked on in Power BI? When do you use pie chart? All those questions will start coming, right?
I see.
So like this is the way basically any interview will go. Okay, so let me maybe I digressed. So let me again come back to this point, and then I'll ask you guys a few questions. So can somebody tell me what is DAX?
Data
That-
analysis expression.
Yeah, so you need to basically explain in like at least in 1-2 line. That is data analysis expression, but can you elaborate a little bit more on
Yeah,
that?
it is a data analysis expression, which is being used as power for Power Pivots, which would be materialized for data modeling and calculation engine.
Okay. Anybody else? You want to give it a try?
It's used to aggregate functions in the DAX. That's what it's used for, and some of the functions that we cannot achieve with the this query editor. So that's the advanced level for to edit our to modify our data. We can aggregate with DAX. DAX we use it for aggregation mainly.
Okay. Okay. Salim, do you want to give it a try?
Yes, DAX is a collection of function operators, and it helps us to do calculated columns, measure calculator measures, and so many calculation we can do by using DAX function. It's
Got it.
very powerful function
Okay.
on a Power BI.
You all are right. You all are correct. Maybe we can little bit make it scripted, or maybe you can say a little bit more comprehensive or crisp. So you can tell DAX is data analysis expression. It is a library of formulas used for calculations and data analysis. Okay. So DAX is a functional language containing conditional statements, nested functions, value references, and much more. The formulas are either numeric or non-numeric. Okay, and a DAX formula always starts with an equal sign. So maybe the last part you can remove, but then you need to tell like this. What is a DAX? DAX is data analysis expression. It is a library of formulas used for calculations and data analysis. It is a functional language containing conditional statements, nested functions, value references, and much more. So this is how you should answer this question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you all were correct. I'm just giving you like how to basically express your thoughts.
Oh.
Exactly.
Ravi, are you there?
I think he's on mute or maybe not around. Not sure. Do you have something to ask?
No, I just want him to let me in on my laptop.
Sorry. Send the link on your laptop. What did you say?
Yes, I am waiting his his permission to let me in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Got
I'm
it.
joining on my phone, but the voice is too far, so that's why it's okay.
Okay. Okay, got it. Let me actually ping him and ask him to let you in. Okay, I pinged him. Let's see. Like once he sees, like he will respond.
Thank you. Thank you, Meha.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. Okay, so now what should be our next question? 1 minute, let me see. So what is DAX? Okay. What all functions have you worked on DAX? Anybody?
Like a time intelligence function. Am I right?
No.
Yes.
So let's.
No.
No, I'm telling, like, don't ask me question. Okay, so this is a question for you guys. What all functions do you know in that you have used in DAX under Power BI tool? So that is a question for you guys. First, tell me answers, and then we will discuss.
Like date function, time intelligence function, aggregate functions, and operators functions.
Okay. And under each one of these, can you tell me like few functions name?
Yes, for aggregate, like sum, average, and minimum, maximum. And for time intelligence, year to date and last year, the previous year, last month, all those. And from operators, all this, addition, subtraction, all this.
Got it. Anyone else wants to talk? Maybe Ben?
I think he put it very well. It's well rounded. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
And we also have, I think, comparison function. To compare. Yeah.
Okay. So have you used related function?
Yes, and I use related function to pull it from another table, so that way it can be since they are related, we can, for example, one information we might pull it from another table. So since if it is already related, we can call it as utilizing related.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Fine. So yeah, you guys were right. If somebody asks you what all DAX functions have you used, or maybe types of DAX functions, so you can tell that DAX, we know about DAX aggregation function, DAX filter function, DAX time intelligence function, DAX date and time function, DAX logical function, DAX text function. Maybe these are the important ones that you should cover. I think you guys have covered everything, right? Or did you miss anything?
The way you have is like easy to understand, and it's not, you didn't say too much, but you covered it all. These are very good.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So maybe like, and then you just have to tell these, like you have used DAX date and time function, DAX logical function, DAX text function, DAX aggregation function, like these 5-6 things you can tell. Then if somebody asks you under aggregation, what all have you used? So then you have to tell, okay, I have used sum function, average function, sum x, count, whatever is there, right? That you can go through the, or maybe I'll give you the list. But then you have to talk more about each of the function. And then once you tell, somebody can ask, like, what is the difference between, I think, sum and sum x? Okay. So do you guys know what is the difference between sum and sum x function?
I can try.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, sum function is aggregate, the whole column in a column level. In a given column, we just, sum the whole, sum up the whole, total and give you the sum. But when it comes to sum x, the only difference is you don't have to have, even if you don't have, like, if you need a cell, the sum of cell, even if you don't have, the cell column, you can, because it goes, line, row by row, you can multiply list price by quantity, so you can calculate using sum x. That's the difference.
And I think that x, the x stand for expression, as Apur correctly said. So it should give us the sum of expression. whereas sum just summarize the values.
Got it. I think you guys are right. This is how it works. Salim, you want to add something?
Okay, let me try. So sum and sumx function, they both does same operation. Like sumx, I mean sum. For example, if we want to get a total cell from existing cell column, we can get a total cell. It's aggregated values. And when we come to sumx function, we can still get a total cell, but we have to use a table and expression. And sumx is a row level context.
And I think just to add up on Salam, because when it comes to sumx, we have to specify the table name. In terms of sum, since it's directly we are at the specific column, there is no point of specifying the table name because we're already there at that column. But if it is sumx, we have to specify where it's located.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's how it works. Correct. You guys, I think, covered every point. This is what happens. Like, what is the difference between sum and sumx? So basically, I
except for the interview, we don't come in together, so that's a problem. If they ask us three of us together, that would have been great.
You can survive.
Okay, so I'll reiterate all the pointers that you guys have told. So basically, sum is an aggregator function. Okay, so it adds up all the values in a single column you specify after applying all filters that will impact the formula. So basically, what happens in sum, it doesn't have it doesn't know that there are rows existing in this table. So it can't do row by row evaluation. Sum can only be applied in the entire column. Okay? So basically what happens, for sum, you can tell sum operates over a single column and has no awareness of individual rows in the column. So basically sum is a sum doesn't know or doesn't do row by row evaluation. Sum operates over a single column. And for sumx, you can say sumx is an iterator function. So the difference you can see here. Sum is an aggregator function and sumx is an iterator function. Why we are calling it as iterator? Because it works row by row. Like for each row, it will evaluate and then it will go on. So it works throughout the table, row by row, to complete the evaluation after applying all the filters. Okay, so sumx has the awareness that there are rows in the table. Got it? So for sumx, you can tell sumx can operate on multiple columns in a table and can complete row by row evaluation. So two differences between sum and sumx. If anybody asks you, you can tell sum is an aggregator function while sumx is an iterator function. So basically, sum works or operates over a single column and doesn't know that there are rows in a table, while sumx operate on multiple columns in a table and can complete row by row evaluation. The third thing you can tell is, as I think Ben mentioned, in some function, we don't need to specify the table name, while in sumx function, we need to specify table along with the expression. So these are the differences.
So yeah. Can we conclude that sumx is more or less like calculated column and sum is as measure?
Let me think. So
I say that because calculated columns are evaluated at each row. So if sumx is row by row, I was wondering if I'm understanding it right.
These all are actually DAX functions. So I'm just thinking if we will create calculated column and then create the sum function, uh, it will work for the entire column, right? So then we need to create measure. That's what you're saying, right? For some function, we need to create measure. And for some
Mhm.
X function, you are telling that we need to create, or we can create calculated field, right? I think we can do that, but let's try that out in
All right. Because
using some data, so that like even I am sure, because I actually I'm not sure about this answer, right? So looks like that is the case, but then I want to be sure once. So once we will work on the data, we'll see. We will try to create both calculated field and measures, and then we can see, because if that is not how it's working, then what will happen? You will get the same value in each row, right? And then you will get to know that okay, uh, for some X, we can't use basically measure. So I'll give you answer of this question maybe in next class. Okay.
yeah,
But
I was
for
just
now,
throwing idea.
theoretically,
Good.
it looks like what you are saying is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what else we have? We have covered DAX, we have covered DAX functions, we have covered uh, connectivity modes. Oh, okay, fine. So you guys know, right? These are the direct query, live connection, and import data are connectivity modes, right? So
Mhm.
whenever somebody asks what are the different connectivity modes, you can tell that.
Yes.
Then one question comes, like these are the basic questions, uh, starting, maybe interviewer will start with these questions. So what are the components of Power BI? Can somebody tell me?
Power BI desktop, Power BI service, and Power BI mobile application.
And I was about to say Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, Power Map, and in terms of Power Query, it's more or less like the M language we said, and Power BI. The Power Pivot is more of like DAX language, and Power View we need it for data visualization. Of course, Power Map, that the geospatial data thing with the 3D, which is like states, cities, and so forth. So when I was reading even on it's kind of confusing because some of them come only with this kind, and the other ones come with the way Salam said it in terms of the desktop version and so forth. I hope you will clear up that for us.
Yeah.
I think I am not clear with your question. Can you repeat your question once again?
So for your question, I said Power BI desktop,
Yeah.
Power BI service, and Power BI mobile app.
Okay.
So
Okay.
which one is right? And Ben said Power Query, Power View, and
Or
Power
pivot.
Pivot, and
Okay.
Power Map.
Or,
So which one is
I'll
right?
come to that. I'll come to that.
Okay.
Before that, Berzo, do you want to add something, or do you think which one is right, or both are right, or nothing is right? Do you want to add something, Berzo?
Yeah, same thing, I'm confused. Some places, just mention the Power Pivot, Power View, just like Ben mentioned, and other places mention the main components are the Power BI desktop, Power BI service, and Power BI for mobile app. That's how I read through. So I'm a little confused, like everybody
Got
else.
it. Got it. Okay, so basically, whenever somebody asks you what are the components of Power BI, you need to cover everything, because whenever, like even I have seen this and people answering this, like everything, whatever you have mentioned, let's say Power BI query, Power BI Power View, Power BI desktop, Power BI mobile apps, Power Pivot, Power Map, all these comes under components. Okay, so these are
okay.
the major components of Power BI. Now, I don't know why they include Power BI, Power BI mobile apps, and Power BI desktop under components, because I think, because I think in the first class also I mentioned that talk about Power BI query, Power BI, let's say Power Pivot, Power Map, Power View, these things. But then even I have noticed that generally it is mentioned everywhere that Power BI desktop, Power BI mobile, Power BI website, all these are the components of Power BI, right? So whenever somebody asks you what are the components of Power BI, try covering all these, like both of them.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So if somebody asks you what are the components of Power BI, I think you need to answer that Power BI query, Power BI desktop, Power Pivot, Power Map, Power BI mobile apps, Power BI website, uh, all these are the components of Power BI. And then if somebody asks in depth, like what do you understand by Power BI query, or can you explain me a little bit in detail about Power BI query or Power Pivot, or anything they can ask, then you can talk more about Power BI query, that under Power BI query we can edit, or like this is how the page looks, whatever, like all those things you can talk about. Okay, but right now we were discussing what are the components, so you need to cover both the things, not just one.
Yeah, I have one question. We have.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
clarify for me Power Pivot? Is that a Power BI service? Related to the Excel?
Power Pivot, you were saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, correct. So Power Pivot we use in Excel as well as in uh, Power BI. The same concept is there. Okay, so Power Pivot is widely used in Excel.
Okay.
Right, and the same thing, the way you look at the Power BI tool, right? The Power Query thing, and how we do manipulations and everything, the same concept. So what happens now if I talk about Power Pivot or Power Query concepts, anything? So the similar concept we have in Excel, and from there I think you can relate also, like the way Excel works and the way Power BI works, it's almost similar. In Excel also, you go to editor window, and then there will a pane will open where you can basically have multiple tables. You can join tables, you can merge tables, you can transform, you can do any kind of manipulations, and then you can load your data into Excel, and then you can create power, and you can create pivot. But so what helps pivot do? Pivot helps you in aggregation or slicing and dicing of data, right? So Power Pivot is used in Excel widely, to your question.
Okay. So that's
Okay.
equivalent of Power Query in Power BI. That's we use Power Pivot in Excel.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Good.
But I think we also use Power Pivot in Power BI. Yeah, Excel has Power Pivot. If because last time I followed online and then I updated my settings, so right now even my Excel has Power Pivot. However, even on Power BI, we also use Power Pivot for data modeling and calculation, I guess.
So basically, Power Pivot is a calculation engine, you can tell. Like Power Query is UI, right? Like user interface, where you can pull the data, drag and drop, do manipulations and everything, right? And Power Pivot is a calculation engine for all the pivot tables that you are creating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, then. I think these are the questions that I had for today. And these were the basic questions. Now under DAX also we could have like little bit advanced question. Maybe I'll talk about like those questions. Maybe we'll discuss it in our next session today. Like we'll finish it a little bit earlier. The questions will be like, what is Power Pivot? What is Power Query? What is Power View? So whatever we discuss, right? We will talk like in 2-3 liners how you can answer these 2-3 questions. Okay. So these are the 3 important questions: Power Pivot, Power Query, Power View. What is all these 3? What are the differences between these 3? Okay. Then somebody asked like, what is the difference between sum and sumx? That we already covered. Then what is the difference between measure and calculated column? What are the different level of filters? Then this question I think we have discussed, but we will discuss in more detail. When to decide which chart to use, like what is the use of line chart, what is the use of bar chart, pie chart, all those things. Okay. Then why Power BI and why not Power BI? This is like basic questions that we will discuss. Like we need to discuss pros and cons of Power BI. Now this is important. Now, how to calculate year to date, month to date, and quarter to date. This comes under the date and time filter DAX functions that we are discussing, right? Using that, we create year till date, month till date, and quarter till date. And this is like very like good tool, or you can say powerful expression that is used usually into any good dashboard, good Power BI dashboard, right? So this is one of the important questions we will discuss, and we will see how to calculate YTD, MTD, and QTD. YTD is year till date, MTD is month till date, and QTD is quarter till date, right? So this is one of the things that we will discuss. And what is a slicer, right? Uh, that is one question that people ask. And I think, yeah, these are the questions that I have for today. And the answers for the below ones, like 3-4 questions that I just told, we'll discuss it in our upcoming sessions. Okay. So for today, this was it. Like from my end, if you guys want to cover anything or ask some questions or anything, we can take that.
I don't know. From my end, all I can say is I'm enjoying this class. You make it so you have good quality. First, you're so clear on the ideas. Second, you're good at delivering those ideas. And third, I think I found it very easy to follow. So hopefully, it definitely is going to be very instrumental for our interview. But my question for you was like, because you must have done so many interviews and you must have helped also other people like us. So how, like right now we're also at the starting point and we didn't even do any interview whatsoever. So how do you, in general, like, how do you see us, like, how much of it we need to be prepared to start the interview? What do you think? And I want you to be honest.
Okay.
I want you to be very blatant on us, because that way it will make us prepare further.
No, absolutely. Like, I'll tell you how the process works. So basically, for me also, initially when I was working with one company, and then I started searching for a job. And I'll tell you, like, uh, even though I was working on some project, I'm not scaring you guys, so don't worry. But for each individual, not just for me or you, for each of us, it takes a while to get through, right? And the number of interviews you will give, keep on giving, the more number of questions you will get from that, the more prepared you will be. So my only suggestion to you guys will be like, prepare as much as you can. uh, Try revising as much as you can, like whatever we discussed today, try revising that, keep on revising all those concepts, keep on uh, uh, revising your project, like how you will explain, why I asked Berzo to explain or give his introduction again to me, although he has like same content, or although you both have same content, try giving those so that you get comfortable, you get confident with whatever you have as a script, right? You don't forget, like, while many times it happens that when you are delivering something, you miss out few pointers, right, which is important. So keep on practicing all those. And it like very rarely happens that in one or two interview people crack it, right? It will take a time, or it's like a process. It will take few days, few months to get through, but the entire process works like this. Keep on practicing in each interview. If you said whatever question interviewer asked, whether it's like very easy or very difficult, just come from interview and note that down. Once you note that down, search for the answers, ask anyone, ask me, discuss among your friends and write the answer. And in next interview, when you are going, revise those answers as well. So what will happen, whatever you know, something will get added on top of it. And then again, repeat this process in each interview. I'm damn sure like in 4 or 5 interviews, you will start cracking it, because you will know the pattern, you will know the answer question set that usually are being asked in the market, right? So this is how it works. Just the tip is keep practicing, keep revising, read as much as you can. That's it. Nothing else, I would say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maha.
Yeah. I would like to say same thing Ben said, but one thing I want to tell you is, we took class with Ben the last, 5-6 months. So if you don't like it, he will tell you in the face. He like it for sure. So yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
So thank you.
Yeah. Great, guys.
Are you saying anything to me?
No, Ravi, not now.
You just
We were discussing among ourselves.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So when are we going to start the project?
Yeah, sure. So
Okay.
that's the next thing that we will do. So tomorrow I'll be back in town. Right now I'm out. So maybe we will go through something that we discussed yesterday in like hands-on. I'll show you how it works. Maybe that we will cover tomorrow. And then going forward, like in our Thursday session or so, we will start discussing project and more questions, because I think the basic concepts we have already covered now. What the number of questions we will discuss or the project, everything we will cover. So going forward, like maybe starting Thursday or next Saturday, we will start working on projects and more questions.
Okay.
Okay.
And how long it takes? We start.
That depends, like how in depth you want, and then how much we interact. So maybe it will take like 2 class, mostly, not more than that, to explain you project and then look at the data and everything. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Fine, guys. Thank you. Have a nice day. Nice night. Good
Thank
night.
you. Have
Fun.
a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.